Have you ever caught yourself saying this?
Oh, I turned 30 and it's just so hard to lose weight.
Right, your metabolism slows down when you hit 30, and then it's even worse when you hit 40 or 50. So, is there truth to that? Is that why you're struggling to lose body fat? Don't forget, if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that red button, subscribe, the little bell next to it for notifications so you get notified when I'm dropping a new episode, hitting you up with all of my food, my fitness, my fun, my Angie method way of doing things. And I just want to say, hey, thanks for your support, and I'm so glad you are here. Welcome back, everyone. I am so pumped you are here. Today's question, it's a big one, or shall we say it's a statement that we hear over and over again in the diet culture of why we cannot lose weight. And so I'm here to answer that question and to give you, my thoughts and the little Angie method spin on, is it a hard thing to do to lose weight when you get older because your metabolism slows down, or is it a myth? Okay, so here's what I want you to do first. I want you to think about a time where you just felt so athletic and lean and fit and hot in your body, whatever it was. Now, you're probably gonna think about it in a time that maybe you had less commitments. Maybe you had less priorities outside of yourself. So maybe you work full-time now. Maybe you have a family. Maybe you volunteer, whatever it is. Maybe it was a time where you just had more leisure and more free time to spend it exercising more or just to be more active in general. Maybe there was a lot less stress going on. And when you think about that time, maybe it brings you back to when you were a kid. And maybe you remember yourself like running around in summertime, like at the park every day with your friends. Or maybe you were on swim team in the summer. Maybe you were athletic. Maybe you just had no cares in the world. And you remember yourself being like, man, like, I didn't look like this before, right? Like I didn't have this body fat before. Like what happened to me? Oh, my metabolism slowed down because I'm getting older. So here's what I'm about to tell you. It's not that our metabolism slows down. And so sometimes we use that almost as an excuse, as a way to like say why we've gained body fat. And there's really no evidence to it. There is no research out there that says as we hit 30, our metabolism drops. As we hit 40, our metabolism drops. What actually happens is our lifestyle changes. And so we're gonna look at this from a different lens, and I'm gonna help you realize that you can be fit at any age, and there are ways that you can rev up your metabolism, and there are different methods and tips and tricks that you can do to be in that body that you want, that you remember was easy and effortless, and the one that you just felt like you were rocking all the time. Okay, so let's look at what's really going on. Let's pretend you just turned 30, and all of a sudden you're like, this isn't the body that I've recognized from the past. This body has more body fat. It just feels more tired. It feels like I'm just constantly searching for ways to have energy. So what has probably happened? Your lifestyle has probably changed. You might be working more. Maybe you have a full-time career that requires a lot of your attention. Maybe that career, you're sitting down more, so you're more sedentary. Maybe you have a lot less time for fitness or leisure activities where you can be outside, moving more. Maybe your protein intake started to drop. Maybe you are not sleeping as much. Maybe your stress is really high. Maybe you're a new parent, or you've been a parent for a while and now you have the demands of kids and they're your priority, or your demands of your relationship. So you have all these things that started to change, right? Less exercise, more stress, less sleep, more demands with your career, more demands with your family. So maybe it isn't that your metabolism changed because of your age. Maybe it's the way that you structured your life and your lifestyle changed because life has changed, and that's okay. There are still ways that we can get you to get that metabolism up and moving again. So I'm gonna give you my best tips for it. So there's nothing magical that happens between 30 and 40 years old, right? There really isn't. It's just, there's a lot of things, like I just mentioned, they've just changed in your life. So what would I recommend first? First, I would recommend weightlifting. I would recommend doing some type of strength training where you're training with intention to progressively overload week to week. Having muscle mass on your frame, on your body, is what is going to keep you lean and fit and keep your metabolism revved up. It takes a lot more energy. Energy equates to those calories of your metabolism to sustain that muscle and to recover from those strength training exercises. And so if you're not doing so already, like, find time. I'd recommend 3 to 4 days a week of resistance training where you're progressively overloading, meaning you have to get stronger week to week or over time in order to be able to do those lifts with more weight or to do more repetitions with those lifts. So first, strength train. Number 2, eat more protein. I know this sounds so simple and easy, and it is that simple and easy. We undereat in protein a lot, and protein is the building block of your muscle. And so if you find yourself carrying more body fat and your metabolism has slowed down, it's probably because you put on more body fat. And so strength train to build the muscle and eat protein to sustain muscle and to recover from those workouts. Protein also takes more calories to actually break it down and for your body to absorb it than a carb or a fat does. So just by eating more protein, you're actually burning more calories naturally, which again is increasing the total amount you burn in a day, which is your metabolism. And so focus on that protein to make sure that you're staying full with it and that you're recovering from those workouts and that you're signaling your body to have that muscle on it and to burn fat when needed. Manage stress. I'm not gonna say get rid of it because that's not realistic, right? We're in our 30s, our 40s, our 50s, whatever it is. We have more commitments, we have more priorities, we have more stress in our lives. And so you just have to figure out how to be more resilient to stress, how to figure out ways that you can manage it so it doesn't seem as extreme. Because when that stress is high, that cortisol is high, and that means we are going to hold on to more body fat. And so we need to find ways to manage it on our end in order to keep that metabolism nice and revved up. And then the last one, I know it seems so obvious, but like, get sleep. Like, make sure you are sleeping. Because our lifestyle changes and we stop sleeping as much as we probably had the time to when we were a kid, we're not fully recovering. Like, when you are sleeping, that is when the magic is happening. That's when your growth hormone is going up. That's when your appetite and your fullness hormones are starting to regulate, to tell you when you're actually full when you're eating during the day and to tell you when you're hungry. This is when we are managing our cortisol and we're bringing down that stress hormone. And so there's so many things that you can manage on your end, that you're in the driver's seat, that you have control of in order to keep that metabolism inefficient. That's what we want it to be. We don't want it to become efficient. We want to keep it inefficient. So by practicing all those different ways, you can do that for yourself. Okay, so the next question I get, well, what if I am dieting and it just seems harder? It just seems like my metabolism has slowed down. Here's the first thing I always ask every single person that I start to coach. How long have you been dieting? And if you have been chronically dieting, you have probably slowed your metabolism down, because at some point your body does have to adapt to the amount that you're consuming, and it will slow down to hold on to more energy. It doesn't want to expend as much because it doesn't have as much coming in. What I would say chronic dieting would be under eating from what your normal maintenance calories would be. So the calories you consume matching the calories that you burn, and you're eating way below that. If you've been doing that for 6 to 12 months plus, you actually might have slowed your metabolism down just because of that. But don't worry, you can easily rev your metabolism back up, and so you can then slowly do what we call the reverse diet and start eating more calories week by week while you maintain that weight, making yourself a super fast, lean, mean burning machine with your metabolism. And so if you find right now like it's a struggle to lose weight and you thought it was just because of age, it could also be that you have not been focusing on building more muscle and getting good sleep and eating more protein. It could also just be a product of under eating for too long. And so in that instance, the first thing you have to do is just be okay with eating more, but doing it slowly to let your metabolism catch up and become faster and faster. And so is there any truth really, honestly, to age and metabolism? No. But the more muscle that you put on your body And the more you focus on your protein intake, and the more sleep you get, and the more you manage your stress, and the more you look at your lifestyle for what it is and what's in your control, the more you're gonna keep your metabolism fired up. And the last thing I like to recommend, non-exercise activity thermogenic. You've probably heard of it before, NEAT. So if you've ever heard of someone say that, that's where a lot of calories are burned. And because we've all become a little bit more sedentary, we don't do as much non-exercise activity. So you've heard the tips before, park in the back of the parking lot to get more steps in, right? Take the stairs, not the elevator. Like all of that does add up. And so when you're thinking about easy ways just to kind of get more calories burned in a day, think about what your current day looks like and where you could add in a little bit more of that non-exercise activity. Just me talking with my hands, that burns calories, right? Me putting the dishes away, that burns calories. So the more active you can be and just find little tiny ways to plug it into your day, the more calorie burn you will actually do throughout the day, helping you with that metabolism staying nice and high. Okay, so that's my tip for today. Like, here I am, I'm 37 years old, and I have actually never felt better, and I don't blame it on age whatsoever of why I couldn't be in the body I wanted. I chose the body I wanted to be in, and then I figured out the exact method that was gonna work for me, and that's exactly what you can do too. So comment below, what questions do you have? Have you ever said it's metabolism and age? And now that you've watched this video, does it kind of make sense that your lifestyle just might have changed, but there's ways to get it back? So you guys, you know what? Thanks for joining. I hope this one gave you a little bit more clarity, a little bit more direction on where to go next with your fitness and your nutrition. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one. So you know what? We'll chat soon.